Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Solution Innovation. So today we'll continue some select. So this is what you put behind e-commerce, which is still since time. When we have, we look at e-commerce and actually psychological phenomena is that about that. And we went to the digital supply chain logistics industry. What we've done is we looked at some marketplaces like which is a platform that connects in this case with like the chain capacities and Schenker we moved from A to B. So they capacities that can certify goods. And we have many service providers. Service providers actually they know the rifle use data for as I told you last week, different use cases ship just over is connecting, organizing, managing everything. Then the service provider could so that we discussed today. They are doing more activity having the logistics, transportation, PPL providers. What does it mean for fulfillment? Managing the warehouse for you means that and then he do that order for you. So this is category of service. And then we have the management transportation, which can work actually for companies that optimize their role, to optimize their logistics. It's one for companies. So 3PL companies that use transportation, logistics. So this is some transportation and logistics industry, which are very important. We'll go to another important concept, which is on-demand warehousing. What is on-demand warehouse? Yeah, a warehouse, so a warehouse stores the goods, warehouse they are prepared for, etc. And sometimes companies manage they may not have enough warehousing capacity. So the warehouse managers, and therefore they need warehouse capacity. So the idea is, okay, most quick thing is that this I don't have enough capacity, warehousing capacity, and this was to some investments in warehousing, buildings, etc. Which now instead of your own that you capacities, warehousing capacities are high. It may be that from other countries that may have warehousing capacities they are not using, and therefore you may get so just for temporary stocking your goods, stocking high snap. So different warehouse companies they are commodity storage and services, and they are using this space in existing warehouses. So here let's move in this way capital expenditures into operational expenditures. Right? That means you see that building warehouses and it costs a lot of money, and to make all of these costs. These house companies they leverage of market, like management and investment management. Let's say you are in one, you get warehouse capacity. So, and you may not have warehousing stuff. So, what you do actually in order to make the fulfillment process to get the good from the warehouse? So, this on-demand warehouse. So, the manufacturing company may have us in the south of Italy, and that's the execution. I the only company. And this, of course, is so we are using a single virtual warehouse. We have many warehouses distributed, let's say, across the country. And what they do is that they are pulling all of these capacities in a virtual warehouse. So, yeah, perhaps put together and they provide a virtual warehouse. Now, I would like to discuss um, yeah, the pros and cons of on-demand warehousing. By the way, this is a question I have posed at my exams. So, something we do together. And yeah, you have to give me hints. The questions that need to be prepared. So, this will be a question of the exam. And then we have an idea about. By the way, when I discuss and warehousing, always discuss. It's about talking about features and pros and cons. Always discuss it pros and cons. Otherwise, what you know, discuss what is as the good aspects of it and what limitations of it. Okay, well, what are the pros of online warehouse? And you used to know a lot of aspects. Any idea? Yeah, come on, pros and them. And yeah, this is the transformation capital. So this is the investment to spend in order to you You are transforming into action books. Yeah. Right? So this is an important. And of course, there is also flexibility. Media established. What does it mean? Flexibility? What does it mean? Exactly. You may have that. I have a small one in Earth, new warehouse in East. Or how to the piece close the payment requirements. React to piece. So those. Yeah, any other advantage which may which would be really interesting. Really start to like it with okay, this is related. This is related to okay, yeah. This is related to that, but we have the same line of I need a good look, for example, they have a warehouse. The location is you have the warehouse in Milan and your customer is so you have to ship house in Milan to the client in the south of Italy. If you know that you have so you may say rent some warehouse and capacity in the south of from that from that warehouse, right? Taking close to the close to emission. Here, sitting near the customer or closer to the customer. And here, this could lead, of course, lower CO2 emission. Another thing, perhaps, that we have done is management supply chain. What do you think? What is more warehouses, let's say, across different region? Obviously, right? So we have a one single warehouse. If there's happening with that warehouse, say, down in the area of the warehouse. So you may not be able to ship anything. Why? Because there is a lockdown region, so you cannot use your warehouse. But if you have different warehouses in different regions, this will reduce the risk, right? And this is really good. These are some of the advantages in demand warehousing. Now, do you think a bit of some of, or do you have any other advantage you may want to contribute? If not, let's go to the disadvantages or to the limitations, problems. Yeah. Here, looking at housing perspective of client on demand. We are not talking about the pay, the company capacities, but we are talking about the advantage from the manufacturer perspective, let's say, or the retailer's perspective, the company's. What is the kind of complexity? Because when you house have much more complexity than previous the world. It's a very good line of thought. That's the thing. If it, and in the sense that, okay, so before that, these companies, is one of the company is like three. So they are doing the execution. It means that when you are a manufacturer and you get that. So who will handle the ship goods from the warehouse? Who will do that? Demand warehouse. It is not you, but they are providing execution. So what is that? Because it is very like right? So here you don't have station. So the company that rents this capacity won't have on the executions. Will get the execution as a service from the demand warehouse company. Here is a negative point. Lower control. On execution. For example, taking the order, consolidating orders, and then preparing them for shipment to the client. Right? So, a problem. Good. Any other? These are the ones I'm. Yeah, if. Yeah. If another company, they will. If it's based, but actually on-demand warehousing, we use it when we have peak, right? If it's based as in the long term, we have a warehouse, of course, and then may not get the other positives, reduction of to emissions. Maybe difficult. But yeah, I would write it down. It should be explode the cost, demand, and healthcare services versus yeah. So it's very difficult to find. So there are many parameters which actually play an important role. Did any further question, please? You will have a good. Yeah, we have. Of course, the other warehouse should be insured. Um, yeah, because insurance of and warehousing capacity also. Um, yeah, we could. How do we? Yeah, here then you should not use. So you should really then display safely enough. It is like products that should be from the point of time when you send it available to me. So yeah, we should small code, right? This argument. Good. Yeah. So you know very well now the pros and demand warehousing, right? So if you need this question during the exam, I would be able to answer it. Why I'm saying this, let's say of this question. So just leave me. I'm saying this also to my students last year, and I asked them that every people have an advantage because you have class. You're seeing me. I'm making you aware. See the recording. But anyway. Another question. Yeah. There's no the possibility of using contract networks among warehousing to fulfill their requirements and requirement day to day warehousing. The legal requirements is very it can depend from one client from one client to another. Uh, let's say contractual agreements. So yeah, what do you say? You say most of this problem, like this. Yeah, absolutely. So what you have here perhaps is what you are saying. Disadvantage here. What is here? Yeah, here. Absolutely. And your section actually agree. So if you have a document of years inside your company, we have to, let's say, examine very closely the contract. A lot of transaction costs because then you are using argument. Good. Here you have some examples of different warehouse companies. You can put them if you want. Slogan is UK's warehouse business. More than 4,000 warehouses. Matching some customers and allowing customers to name it. An operation in the US and Canada. The customers and those owners along the warehousing with the based software connected to the warehouse, charging commission on top of set by the owner. Okay, so and then I have also this is what I told you about. So warehouse management system, inventory management, and billing services. These are all services that are provided to the client who is looking for warehouse activity. Good. Now, this is on-demand warehouse. It's a very interesting concept. Now let's look at this on-demand delivery. On-demand delivery. Crowd shift. I told you when we taught this class about on-demand delivery, there are two instant delivery services that provide on-demand delivery like Robo or Deliveroo, and this on-demand delivery is either by loans, contractors, or employees. Standing for platform. Yeah, there are two elements which are characterizing is kind of first the short time scale of around 2 hours. Where how does it work? So it's a very interesting on entrepreneurship, especially then the digital platform is applied usually by good. So we have and this is where we started actually. How did we did it? How did we ask it was, every, for example, restaurant they should have they should make the order management being themselves. Yeah. So there are no every restaurant shop has to manage it. And then there has been when they are putting together the restaurants. So for example, you can go there to the deal. I remember this it was. I don't know whether they exist. So for example, that on that the delivery by the restaurant, by the shop itself. So the digital platform is just doing the marketing, the order management, and the business here, the shop, is doing the delivery. It's not done by something else. And now we have actually, yeah, the platform, Google, for instance, they do the technology, order management, career payment. So they are not doing only, also they are doing the logistics, right? So, and if you think of this is a very interesting business. Actually, why? For one simple reason. Before global delivery platforms, if you would like to get e-commerce capabilities, what should you do? You should develop websites. Own logistics, use but we're global strategy on just putting the service on top. So the business here, classic, right? Traditional. It could be even a pharmacy. It could be a grocery store, a small grocery store. And then you are putting on, so this is which is just putting, just like a modular business, putting a traditional business in order to make it, provide that business with use capabilities. Because virtually every shop can get use capabilities how to develop its own e-commerce. And this was, for example, during was yeah, it was very successful, right? It's America, many shops, restaurants without online presence, they could get this service on top and provide services. Good. Now, we would like to look at this process at Globe. I took it back from the website. So how they do on-demand delivery? So you see a client order, identify the courier, excuses both the client, business to let them know about the order, to let them know about call the user to order and find the order in case of it is correct. Now, yeah, behind Global, by the way, there is a very algorithm in order to do this. So, for your opinion, what does the algorithm to make this? So, first of all, before these factors, I would like to ask you what, first of all, the actors in this process. What are the main actors? So let's see. Okay, right. I think these are the user of the client. And then I would like are the indicators for each one? The indicator. Let's start with user, which is what is the indicator that would like to think from global, right? What is the indicator of performance for you? Yeah. Right? So, if you are hungry now, you have to get apps after 30 minutes. It's too long. I'd like to have it now. You need the kind of time. Food is there. Okay, but 50 minutes, I think. You have to wait 4 hours. It's problematic. Hmm? Yeah, how much the app is charging? You, right? Because most of the users that go to buy on Globo are just aware of the cost. More or less. But it's very important. Now, whether it's the most important that the career is to look at and optimize. We would like to maximize the number of rights. The number of rights, I think, this is the most important indicator. Right? So they would like maybe to work because the more they work, the more we can make money, which is absolutely legitimate. And what would be the main indicator of performance for sales? Yeah. So it's kind of global. Most of them they may have a restaurant with any possibility. They would provide it. That's it. Yes, it is really. Yeah. So the more customers you serve, higher the level. What is the most important thing? The availability of free riders, which is connected, because for them it is whether we want to have the rider is the right. What does it mean to have the rider? Yes, good. Does it mean we would like to have it really very complete? What does that on the shoulder? A restaurant operate, right? So if a rider comes too late, what does it mean? It means that the meal has been cooked and it has been waiting for a long time until the rider is arriving. What does it mean? It means perhaps that the meal, perhaps it cannot be served anymore. What they will do, the restaurants in this case, they will be perhaps throwing meat and then cook it once again while the rider is waiting. Now this is bad for everyone. So they would like actually to reduce the backlogs of the prepared meat. This is important. Actually, the best point in time where the rider comes is when the meal has just finished. And the rider comes afterwards. This is bad for the restaurant because they get cold. If the rider comes before, this is bad for the rider because the rider has to wait until the restaurant be prepared the meal. So actually, of course, the restaurant to reduce reduction of the backlog. Do you agree? Actually, algorithm, the algorithm should to make this to make many optimizations at the same time. So this is more or less an optimization with multiple objective functions. So first here are two things. No, there this algorithm or this is using they're used is based at the AI capability and it has also just research capability. So what's the AI capabilities? The AI thing during the class, we will even it more and more. The AI is always considered prediction. So what AI does, AI is doing prediction. Yes. Exactly. So we have to make forecast. Good forecast. Also very important in order to estimate the number of riders. Here for forecast, yeah, and for example seasonalities, because also demand change, time how demand change on perhaps the hours of the day. So this is for what into account is current demand, etc. And operations research. When you talk about operations, are talking always about. So this is what we did also in your class here. The supply chain analytics optimization. This is based on operation means the kind of algorithms we use in order to optimize. Yeah. Specs. And here, what should we? And here, one of the bigger, most important aspects is called the career time. Given the position of the user, the client, who would like to get the meal, given the position of the restaurant, given traffic congestion, given the security of certain routes, perhaps the insecurity of other routes, given many, many variables, given the time also required in order to get to the restaurant and the time required, given the vehicle used by the courier. So we will here try to have an optimal here assignment. Is the courier around in this will be able more or less optimize all of these indicators. Time for the user, the number of page will be, and reduction of. So we will try to optimize in order to get the clear the one most appropriate delivered to the customer. And these are all the factors that could be season, demand, people. It could be, of course, location of different actors, the security in the city. There are some areas that are not secure. The weather conditions, by the way, could be also very important to take into. Yeah, the preparation time also. Everything is going gradually in order to yes, career preference and optimize all of these indicators. Any question on this? Perhaps anything? But do you want us to write down the factors again? Summarize them? Because it could be also because I have said all of them, but I'll write them down. Once again, what are the factors? Preparation time. And we have the career vehicle. You can have also the traffic. You take into account. Exceptional situations, like weather conditions, how area closed, dangerous, etc. Exceptional. Everything. So here we have the functionalities of on-demand deliveries. Those are the most important functions. Have low price for customers, competitive rates of efficient dispatch of orders, availability of good quality, capacity planning, integrated relationship, consignors for. Yeah, the business makes this actually not successful because of the factors that to provide a consumer. Now, I have another for you. Do you expect actually companies like you on the on-demand? Here. This is the big part of companies. Would you say you are a consultant or one of the companies that you can work on-demand delivery? Let's say FedEx could benefit from creating a business on delivery and delivery to this. Any idea? Yes. Would you say yes or no? When he says yes, so I would actually, he said, good argument. I recommend to be on-demand delivery because they will leverage actually their own brand name, and they have, of course, a lot of experience in the area of music, so they could do that. More arguments? Okay, very good. Yes? Would you recommend yes or no? No. Okay. Martin. Okay, Martin said, when we talk about UPS, DHL, about whether they should accommodate on-demand delivery or not, to see from where they are coming. And in parcel, something happened together. So this is what he said. So here they have different platforms because here we are using. They are also shipping bigger volumes. So for example, HL perhaps they are shipping for one client big parcels, right? It's not like a meal served a restaurant to a client, to a house. This is a completely different business. So there will be more or less between what the company has, the kind of business and business that the company has done with what this business requires. And I think this is a valid because this will be a completely different. So think of UPS and FedEx. They are making perhaps intercontinental shipments using airplanes, sending big volumes. And here, on-demand delivery is focusing on needs. The service is very localized. It's completely different from the business that I'm used to. And most importantly, what about the reputation of on-demand delivery in general? What about the reputation? Is it good or not? It is not. Well, especially because of the payment of the careers, right? Which perhaps is not considered as very central. So why can't we make a business which could be, and on the one hand, be also problematic with respect to reputation of business. So these are the arguments against, and I think most valid. But in order to perhaps experiment with a new thing, like parcel company embarking on on-demand delivery, what they can do. Exactly. Disconnect. Most of the companies, let's say, you, I do think that perhaps there have been some, I think in France, one of the subsidiaries of the Post that tried to buy existing on-demand delivery company. Um, um, yeah, I'm not sure, but um, yeah, Google that. But there is another problem. If they would like to buy it, so these platforms, especially the very successful ones, you need a lot of cost. You need a lot of investment. Cheap. If they are not cheap, I mean, the risk would be very, very high. So, yeah, if you see that once, first of all, when you take this person company, because of the type of business thing, it is not able to. But if they would do it, then it should be different. Either by very, very from scratch, think about it in existing one. Again, it's not easy. Without problems because this kind of really uh, high value for the investment. Okay, so best thing perhaps just not just business, and then what we see also is that so far they're not into that business. So have you ever heard of DHL and delivery and complete business in the area of logistics? Any question or comment on this? Good. So the next concept, which is very types of studied so far, is that we will talk about, and the roots of the concept is crowdsourcing. So these are the roots of the concept. Where crowdsourcing. So crowdsourcing is an idea that has started perhaps in 2010, 2011, even a bit before. That to source actually some activities that the company may be really interested in, maybe requiring a lot of many users. An example of this is called Spreadshirt. It is a German company. I don't know whether you have heard about it. Yeah, it was actually founded in the city where I have been living in Germany, so therefore it was very famous. Spreadshirt is a company that is pushing innovation in order to provide a kind of business which is very interesting. It says to so this is so we can so sure it has a say make platform and then it has correction capabilities. So and this is Spreadshirt. And then there are users. What the users can do, and this is interesting. Users can make designs of. So Martin or Federico, they may be good designers of t-shirts. What you do is that you go on there and you create your own shirts, create your own designs, and you put them on that platform. Say you create 100 designs, Federico also, let's say 100, whatever, and then you put them. And whenever a client, the user, but I'm sorry, for example, I'm interested in the t-shirt designed by Federico by Martin. Buy that t-shirt. Who will be producing it? And since you are the designer, you will get certain portion of that price as a compensation, of course, for your work. Whenever one t-shirt is purchased on the platform, you will get a small portion of that money paid by the. You can create your shop, the company. So it is, and therefore, this crowdsourcing, what does it mean? So the supply, more or less, supply of the design is not done by a department of the company. It is done by users, by the crowd. And this is the idea of crowd. You can have, of course, so this is the way it's nurtured, but crowdsourcing concept in order to the company around it. And you may have a design as a company. You may put that design in the domain and you will see there's different kinds of design features, and this is also crowd. Good. What do you think? What is crowd? What is crowd? This is crowd. What is crowd? Crowdsourcing is sourcing from the crowd. And crowdsourcing will be done by the crowd. So instead of having, let's say, logistics companies, even on-demand delivery companies that are making, let's say, the logistics, you may have now people like me doing the logistics service, executing the logistics service. It has been tested, by the way, in the scope of a new project, a European project, that people using the underground, using the metro every day, going home. When they are going home, they may go, let's say, to certain packing stations, because the shipment should go to somebody that is close to where they are living. That shipment, it will be put in it, say, or put in it to the yeah, they go home. So here it is logistics done by people, right? You're going anyway home, you have to take something in order to make the ship. Why not? So you can have a bit of money. And you can also perhaps do something good for the environment. And you are working even on your way home. So this is the idea of crowd shipping. Of course, of the shipping also the sharing economy. And another company is trying to use it is the Walmart. So Walmart, what they did, they said that in 2013, Imagine what the Clase. They try to involve their clients in shipping. So this is Walmart involving their client in shipment. So the client who goes to buy groceries, he also groceries, yes, on the same. And then in 2017, what they did is they did crowd shipping with their own employees. So they have a lot of employees that go home and groceries in order to deliver them. And of course, they get paid for them. Crowd shipment or crowd shipping. Right? So every right is done. Why not use it in order to deliver? It's important from a sustainability point of view because what you do here is that you are actually minimizing, let's say, perhaps empty runs. You have a car, you go home, why not getting shipments deliver them to your neighbor? Good. So what about having a short break? Let's say 15 minutes of break. We continue at 12:50. Let's continue. So I would like that we do it as an exercise here, also a very valid exercise for as an exam exercise. Yeah, what about the sustainability benefits of crowd shipping? So, what do you think? What are the kind of advantages for sustainability that crowd shipping could provide? Very good. So it can help with last mile delivery, so reducing the emissions with respect to last mile delivery, especially in congested cities. Of course, you can have this concept so that you can relieve a bit the city, you can reduce the level of congestion because people, let's say, who would anyway go home or go to a certain location, they will take something with them to deliver, right? So here, in general, when we talk about sustainability, we have to be very careful. Sustainability, the first thing that it came to our mind perhaps is the environmental sustainability, but there are actually three types or three aspects that we have to consider. So the triple bottom line, I think every one of you has heard about it, right? The triple bottom line. And in general, we have, in the triple bottom line, we have the aspect perhaps of the, first one is the economic aspect, so economic sustainability, right? The second aspect is environmental, right? And the third aspect is the social aspect, or the aspect of people. And we can think what could be the benefits of crowd shipping to all of these aspects of sustainability. Let's start with people. Yeah, what could be a good aspect of crowd shipping here, or a benefit that crowd shipping could provide to people? Yeah, we have talked about it before. So, yeah, people are going anyway home, let's say. Exactly. So, yeah, we may call them some micro opportunities, right? Right? Any other aspect? Yeah, perhaps what we can also can improve community building. Yeah, think about this. Let's say your neighbor brings a shipment always to you. You will like your neighbor, right? You'll find that neighbor sympathetic. Although you know that he or she gets money for that, but yeah, every time he or she brings to you your delivery, your package, right? Could be very, very good for community. So, but something we have to pay attention to, of course, pay attention to working conditions. So, yeah, we talked about it in the ideal way, but still, yeah, it should not be exploitation. So we have to be careful. Now, let's think about the planet, the environment. I think there are many benefits, many good aspects to cloud shipping. I think this is what Martin said before, right? So we have reduction of last mile delivery, reduction of emissions, but also less congestion in the city. Right? So what we are doing here is that we are using existing trips. Okay? But we have to pay attention to something here. And here, this is what I would like to tell you here, is a very, very important problem. You know, let's say everyone of us knows Airbnb, right? What is the original idea, the initial idea of Airbnb? Airbnb is a platform, and it should actually more or less saturate the capacities our homes, let's say, for those who would like, of course, to offer these capacities. So there are, let's say you have one room in your house that is not used. Yeah, you provide it to somebody else to use it. Yeah, because he or she comes for tourism or for a business trip or whatever. So this is the basic idea, right? To saturate existing capacities. You know what happened? It is also the same for Uber. What happened is that there are investors really investing in big houses just to provide them as Airbnb houses. So actually it is not the saturation of existing capacities, but it has led to the creation of new capacities in order to provide them for Airbnb. So the people have been investing in them. For Uber, so normally you would like to go from home to work. You can provide a ride also for people on the same way. What has been created is that people that will go nowhere, but they will be just working in order to get you from A to B as a taxi service. So the original idea of saturating existing capacities all of a sudden does not function anymore. Right? So here we have also to pay attention not to have people that are just working for crowd shipping and not, let's say, saturating capacities that are already there. I go from work to home. On my way, I can take something to my neighbor. Here it is, no, people just working for the crowd shipping platform. So here, perhaps you can even increase congestion when people reason like that. Yeah, with respect to economic sustainability, profit, perhaps we could reduce the cost of shipment, reduction of the cost of shipment. You know, this is the most of the people do. People would say, I'm going anyway in that direction. I would take somebody, I mean, not take somebody, I would take something with me. It will not be a big thing. And even you will not request high payment for that. But if you are a company doing this, so you will request just the fee that has been defined in anticipation, right? So this could be a good cost factor, right? Or a good aspect for cost reduction. Also, yeah, so this is reduction of shipment costs. I mean, for businesses, but also for consumers, right? In general. Yeah, perhaps another advantage, which is also scalability. Scalability is, yeah, it can be rapidly done as long as people accept to do it. If people do not accept it, of course, scalability would be at risk. But if you say you don't have any problem to take something with you, then yeah, scalability would be not problematic. And this will, of course, lead to new business models, right? So far, we are not very advanced in the area of crowd shipping. Still, it is not used, I mean, yeah, very frequently and at high intensity. So Yeah, this is also a concept that is growing. I told you, Walmart has been testing it for some time. There has been just 2 or 3 years ago this experiment in Rome with the underground users, etc., etc. So we are not really very advanced. Yes, please. It depends on people. Yeah, it depends on people whether you want to do it or not. So would you do it? Who will do it here in class? We can make a statistic. Yeah, why not? So you have a small package, bring it to your neighbor. Yeah, so it won't be a problem, right? But still, it's so there is a lot of opportunities here for business. Perhaps why don't you do it after graduating? Yeah, there are plenty of ideas, right, in the area of logistics and supply chain. Good. We go now to the final chain innovation concept, which is called pallet pulling. Have you ever heard about the company CHEP? Who has heard about CHEP? No? Yeah, I think it's a very important concept. So CHEP is the company that is using pallet pooling, and it is the biggest company in this area, and they are known for that. So more or less, when you talk about pallet pooling, you relate pallet pooling directly with the name of CHEP, which is an Australian company with, presence in Europe, high presence in Europe. This is the kind of logistics, perhaps, in the background that you don't see. Have you ever asked yourself to whom these pallets, which are very important, let's say for logistics, to whom they belong? Do they belong to the manufacturers? Do they belong to the retailers? Yeah, next time when you go, believe me, to go to a retail store, you will be looking at the pallets if you see the name of CHEP on it, because then you may know, okay, this is a CHEP pallet. So the pallets are standardized. You know the dimensions of the Euro pallet? Doing logistics and supply chain, you should know this. Euro pallet. Make your guesses. Yes, almost. One. Very good. It's 1,200 millimeters, and then you have 800 millimeters. So this is the Euro pallet. You can have half a Euro pallet, which is 600, 800. And you know how much it weighs? How much it weighs? It's quite heavy. It's made out of food. Yeah, most of them. And it is about 25 kilograms. 25 kilograms of food. So it's not, yeah, it's quite heavy. Yeah. How much does it cost? A pallet? 25 kilograms of food for €5. Yeah, it's a bit too cheap, right? Huh? 15? Yeah, it's actually the prices are between 15 and 25. 15 to 25 euros. Okay, so this is about the famous pallet, because in general we don't think of it. It's like the container. We don't think of them, but they are doing a lot of important job, all the logistics chains and supply chains, the modern ones, right? So what is this idea of pallet pooling? So pallet pooling system. So instead of companies owning and managing their own pallets, they rent them from CHEP as needed. So this is the basic idea. So CHEP supplies the pallets. Companies rent the pallets from CHEP instead of buying their own. Companies use the pallets. The pallets are used to transport goods through the supply chain, and then the pallets are returned. Once the goods are delivered, empty pallets are collected by CHEP from retailers or distribution centers. Inspection and repair, and this is a relevant thing. So not every pallet that comes back in a good state, in a good health. Pallets could have some issues, right? They can get some issues. They can get broken. So, and therefore, you know how much weight they can actually carry, these Euro pallets? It is also standardized, 25 kilogram of food, 1.2 meters to 0.8 meters. They can get into 4 tons, 4,000 kilograms. So you have this, and they are so also designed in a way that the food drifts can come beneath, and then they lift them and then transport them different areas. Good. So they have to be inspected and then they have to be repaired, and the cycle repeats. You know, one of the biggest issues when companies own their own pallets, what's the problem? And it has been always like this. There is a problem of theft. This 25 kilogram of food. Some people perhaps see some value in some. And also loss. Yeah, theft could be also related to loss, or loss just because people do not have bad intentions, but they are just lost. You may not track them. You don't know where you have them. Yeah, they have been delivered by somebody to somewhere, but you don't know anything about them. So it is a big hassle to manage all of these pallets. And the idea is that to have somebody that not only provides you the pallets, but also manage everything connected to the pallet. And this is exactly what CHEP is doing. So not only providing you with the pallet and then you can do what you want, no, but they are managing the entire process with the pallet, right? So, in a nutshell here, we have this is the CHEP's customer value proposition. So consistent quality pallets and containers, availability, reduce product damage, eliminate product damage. Here it is not meant the pallet, but it is meant everything that is on top, upon the pallet. Of course, if the pallet is damaged, the goods will be damaged, of course, the forklift. So the pallet should be always in good quality. Eliminate pallet purchases, exchange and repair, reduce transportation and handling, competitive pricing, improved employee and customer safety, environmental sustainability, right? Why environmental sustainability? Because they are going in a circle and they are always repaired. So it is not like when a pallet is broken, it is thrown away. No, the pallet is going back, then it is repaired and it is launched again in more and more loops. You see? So this is the value proposition of CHEP, which is quite interesting, right? Now we have here some numbers. And I think this is very interesting. So what CHEP is doing in Europe, more than 350,000 delivery points. Delivery points, they could be retailers, they could be warehouses, they could be distribution centers across Europe. 315,000 delivery points. 240 service centers. What do these service centers do? They are doing the repairs, and they are doing the maintenance, and of course they are getting back these pallets. And this is most interesting, 120 million, mostly pallets in Europe. Some people perhaps they may say more, 160, but 120 million. I got this from from page 100. You can multiply 120 million pallets with how much one pallet costs. And you can have, you can do the calculation. It is, perhaps it is about 2 billion euros invested in pallets. 2 billion. So amazingly big number. Now, I have tried to search on the internet. How much does it cost when you as a manufacturer or retailer rent €1 pallet from CHEP? At CHEP I don't find the numbers, but in some websites I have seen some guesses or estimations. Could you think how much does it cost to have 1 day of Euro pallet at your company or at your warehouse? Estimations? It's from 50 cents to 80 cents per pallet per day. Right? So you are investing billions, and then you are getting paid, let's say, a couple of cents, 50 cents per pallet per day. Of course, when a manufacturer ships goods to a retailer, will not ship just one pallet, will ship many pallets. So, but yeah, it's quite interesting, right? So you are getting paid in, let's say, per pallet and per day. But these are just estimations. These are not the numbers that CHEP is publishing, okay? I cannot find on the website. Now we will look at how does it work in practice. And yeah, the business models actually that CHEP is using in order to have this pallet pooling. So this is the so-called one-way trip. The one-way trip. So this is the first model. The chip plant or the service center of CHEP is providing to the manufacturer the required pallets. So the pallet is issued and delivered by CHEP to the manufacturer. The goods are shipped on pallet to the retailer, and then the pallets are returned from the retailer to the plant for inspection and repair if necessary. So here actually also CHEP that is getting back the pallets to its service center. And believe me, still some problems can happen. That some pallets may get lost. And also I told you last that retailers, and please look at this when you go to grocery stores or some stores, especially grocery stores, when you have in the middle, still in the middle of the, perhaps the discounts or etc., you have still the products on pallets. So pallets are also used not only in the background, in the back door of the warehouse, but they are also used inside the retail store in order to show the products to the client. So this is the first model, and it goes in the loop. Here, this thing or this model is difficult also to manage because CHEP may go to the retailer in order to get the pallets, but the retailer still may need the pallets because the products are still there, or the retailer does not find them, etc. So this model is a bit difficult also. It's difficult to implement. But this is a model that CHEP is also doing. Another model that CHEP has been doing for some time is called the exchange approach. And we can have here some space. And in this exchange model, it works like this. So we have the CHEP service center, Then we have, let's say, the manufacturer, and we have the retailer. So the manufacturer is shipping to the retailer the goods, and then chap gets them back, or there may be some, actually not. And then whenever the manufacturer ships, let's say the manufacturer ships 10 pallets full of goods to the retailer is obliged to give the manufacturer the same number of pallets once the goods are delivered. And perhaps the manufacturer is bringing them back the pallets to check. So this is the model. I give you 10 pallets, you give me 10. I give you 20, you give me 20 back. But what is the biggest problem in this model? This model has been used for some time by Chen. What is the biggest issue? Is that when the retailer does not have enough pallets in the warehouse to give them back to the manufacturer. And here there are always issues. Right? So from where does the retailer, or should the retailer have the pallets? Actually, the retailer, in order to bring back or to give the manufacturer's pallets back, the retailer should have somehow some pallets on stock, right? Where they should come from. There should be also chap pallets, not just pallets, chap pallets. These blue ones. Do you understand the problem? So, manufacturer delivers 10 pallets, but the retailer in this model should give back 10 pallets. But let's say the retailer does not have just 5 pallets. There will be a dispute, perhaps. I'm not talking, perhaps for 10 and 5 it's not a big, but what about if you have here 1,000 and here it's just 200 can come back and 800 they are just not there. Here there's a big issue, right? From where does the retailer get the pallets? In general, the retailer, they may get the pallets from their internal operations because retailers need pallets for their internal operations. So they may give them back to the manufacturer whenever the manufacturer delivers something. But if they don't have, because they are all used or they don't know where they are, then this is a big issue. So here, the problem. And therefore, this exchange model, although it has been used for some time, but it hasn't, it has been discontinued. So it does not, it needs good coordination to ensure pallets are available for return and can be logistically challenging if the recipient does not have enough pallets for exchange. So let's come in today. What they are doing now, this is the transfer hire approach, which works much better, but of course there are preconditions that should be satisfied. Look, so we have here the same thing, so the same system, chap, manufacturer, and retailer, and the manufacturer delivers the pallets to the retailer. And starting from this point, when the delivery has occurred, the pallets get into the responsibility of the retailer. So here, the manufacturer, so before delivery, manufacturer pays. After delivery, who pays? The retailer pays. It's like, I don't know whether this system exists in practice or not, but let's say you rent a car. In the first system, we have seen you may, the one direction. So you rent a car, let's say from 6th, and you bring the car to 6th. Very easy. But what about if you rent a car and before the deadline of bringing the car back, 6 tells you, yeah, it should be going to somebody else. So instead of dropping that car at 6, you would be dropping it by the next client of 6. So let's say, Martin, you have rented that car, and Federico needs it. So I'm taking today Federico and Martin as examples. Yeah, I hope it's fine for you. So you are doing everything today, logistics, car renting, everything. So Martin, after using the car, instead of dropping it with 6, he will bring it to Federico, and Federico will use it. So it's the same thing here. So it has been used by the manufacturer. Now the retailer is using and then paying the 80 cents per pallet per day. You see, so these are actually the business models that has been used by CHEP. Yeah, no need for an immediate pallet exchange, making logistics much more smoother. So there will be no disputes, as we have seen before. And it is more commonly used today because it reduces administrative complexity, especially for the handling, right? So yeah, you have to memorize these companies. Perhaps when you start working somewhere, after graduation, you may be coming into contact somehow with CHEP if the company that you are working for is making some goods for retail, or even some in internal operations, right? CHEP could be very useful. Any questions on this? Good, no question. Yes, please. They will buy the pallets. Yeah, very good. Thank you. What's her name? Gabriele. Thank you, Gabriele. I have forgotten to say that. So if the companies buy the pallets, let's say a company needs 1,000 pallets, let's say per year. In general, if the company needs 1,000 pallets per year in order to serve its customers, it should actually buy perhaps 2,000 or 3,000 pallets. Because pallets will be broken, pallets will get lost, some of them, they will just disappear. You don't know. So in general, you buy more than what you need. Then let's imagine, Gabriel, you are the manufacturer. You send to the retailer, your client, pallets with goods. In general, the retailer cannot, let's say, discharge the pallet once getting the shipment. Why? Because they need them. This is what the retailers say. We need them. Yeah, we cannot put the goods just directly on the ground. We have to put them on pallets until we bring them to the shelves or whatever. So, etc. So you have to let them there. And then once they are not needed anymore, and in the meantime, of course, you have to use other pallets for your other clients because these pallets, more or less, they are with your retailer. And then at some point in time, you have to go back and then get your pallets as a manufacturer. What you will do an empty ride, actually, an empty transportation. Why? Because you'll be just going in order to get back your pallets. For example, in the case of CHEP, this does not happen. Because CHEP, for example, they may send you a truck to get the pallets, and then the truck goes to the next manufacturer that is most closer in order to bring to the manufacturer the pallets, right? So they have more or less no empty rights. The empty rights, as a manufacturer, you have to incur them as CHEP because you are in the business of transporting pallets, right? This belongs to your business. So you will transport these pallets from the retailer to the next manufacturer or to the next retailer that is needing them, to the closest. And in this way, they're able course, to reduce the cost of logistics, something that you cannot do as a manufacturer if you are operating, coordinating your own pallets. Please.
Would it be possible by a manufacturer I ship down pallets to the retailer and after times when they be able to give the next pallets, the next time we will come with pallets?
You can do, but this needs a lot of coordination. Yeah, so you need really to plan the delivery just the day where you back all of your pallets, which is almost impossible because the retailer may need them before, they may need them after. You may have still pallets used by the retailer, so it is a chaos. And therefore, actually, if you compare, look, 80 cents per day per pallet to 25 euros or to 20 euros. So actually, the price of a pallet is 20 days of renting. You may say, yeah, okay, it is better perhaps to own them. The thing is that in this pallet pooling business, they are not only providing you the pallets, they are providing you all the required mechanisms for the coordination and the management of the pallets, something which most of the manufacturers can do with a lot of hassle and a lot of issues, difficulties, right? So the pallet is at the basis, but there is more or less a complete business of coordination and management all around that is most important for manufacturers and retailers. Yes. No. Upon delivery, the recipient, let's say you are the manufacturer, you deliver 10 pallets. Upon delivery, you should get back 10 pallets. Otherwise, it doesn't. This is the exchange. I give you 10 pallets, you give me back 10 pallets, and I will go back with 10 pallets. No. It's not. It's impossible because you have to discharge everything, and this would be a mess. So if you, I'm speaking about 10 pallets, but think of 100, 150 pallets of water bottles. It will be a mess. So better you put them loaded in your warehouse and then you give 150. But as I told you, it's problematic and it's challenging to put it in practice, and therefore it is not used anymore. Or, very, very rarely. Yeah, when they need repair, they will, of course, screen them, monitor them, and those that need repair, they will be repaired. And they have 120 million euro pallets. They are going around here in Europe, so they can launch a lot at work, and many, of course, they are in repair. And they have really service centers that are specialized on repairing them, so on repairing these pallets. So they have competencies in repairing their pallets. Sorry? Yes. This will be, so extra costs that will be just because of theft or losses or whatever. So these are extra costs that companies have to incur. Where in the balance sheet they are positioned, I don't know really, where they will be positioned exactly on the balance sheet. They can do, they can do. They can, of course, get all of the extra costs on top, the shipment, the coordination of the pallets, everything they can put it on top. But this will, of course, reduce the competitiveness of their company. Yeah, perhaps it's paying 50 cents or 80 cents per day per pallet is even more advantageous than operating its own fleet of pallets, right? So, of course, we can do some calculations, but yeah, knowing the price of the pallet, knowing how many you need, knowing how much get lost, how much should be repaired, etc., and the coordination costs, and on the other hand, how much do you pay per pallet for renting per pallet per day, then you can make a kind of economic calculations, and then you see which is better for you. But I can tell you, CHEP is everywhere in Europe. So, by the way, their main location here in Italy is in Milan. So they are very, very known. And believe me, why I took it in this course actually I take it in this course for the first time, because many people, they don't know CHEP. Although it is working as a logistics company in the background, they are doing a lot, right? Without pallets, logistics will not function. Yeah, I have a colleague of mine who is also professor of supply chain management. He came to Milan, and I organized for his group of students a trip to CHEP. And he told me, I did not know about it. Yeah, although it's everywhere. And believe me, next time you will go to the grocery store, you will look automatically on the pallets, and you will see there, most of them, they're coming from CHEP. Good. If there are there more questions? If no more questions, I have a short exercise for you. It's about e-retailing. So it's about the first part that we have done. Yeah, it is a mini case. The company is called ecosneaker.com. It does not exist like Exxon. It does not exist. It is just a case for didactic purposes. Ecosneaker.com is a fast-growing European e-retailer specializing in eco-friendly sneakers. They pride themselves on free 2-day delivery across Europe, free returns within 30 days, and climate-neutral shipping. The current situation, the company planned for 50,000 pairs of sneakers in stock for the spring season. They have one warehouse in Germany. They offer free returns and prepay the carbon offset on every shipment, and they promise customers will receive orders within 2 days maximum. Okay? So this is the starting situation. Yeah, it is an e-commerce company. They would like to be sustainable. Yeah, they have planned 50,000 pairs, and now they have some problems. A marketing campaign goes viral, and orders jump by 150%. Their 3PL warehouse, so it is a warehouse obviously that is managed by somebody else, in Germany is overloaded. Some shipments are delayed by 3 to 5 days, and returns rates hit 40%. Many customers order 2 sizes and get 1. Do you do this? Do you do this? When you buy shoes on the internet, you buy 2 sizes because you are not sure about your size, and then you say, okay, I will do this, I'll buy 2, and then I will return the one that is not very, very fitting, right? Some people are doing that. Anyway, return rates hit 40%. Many customers ordered 2 sizes instead and kept 1. Social media complaints are rising, and the board of directors demands fix this without increasing logistics costs by more than 10%. So there are key challenges: inventory management, warehouse strategy, returns handling, and customer communication. So would you think perhaps 5 minutes about how to come out of these problems? Just trying to think of this problem, and then how this e-commerce company can fix its logistics, its supply chain in a way that is better for the customers. Right? Just 5 minutes. Have just a thought, and then we will discuss this together. Yeah, what I would like you to do is just to create some ideas how to help the company solve this problem. Right? So I know that the case is not rich of information, it's very small, and therefore you have a lot of flexibility in thinking. Almost every idea that can solve problems at these areas could be a good one. Who has already one single idea, one idea? Okay, very good. So if we put all ideas, we do somehow kind of crowd ideation, and then we will find a good result at the end. So we don't need to find everything yourself. So what should we do in order to help the company improve the e-commerce logistics? Okay, extending delivery date or delivery time. Yeah, given that the customers, or only under the condition the customers will be happy to do this, but we have seen more or less it's not always good to have it very fast. Okay, okay. So based on this result, perhaps why not? Yes. Very good, Martin. The only thing is that we have to be careful that fix this without going really high in the cost. But exactly, a very good idea is that increasing the number of warehouses. Perhaps we don't need warehouses, we need smaller hubs, let's say, in each country to serve the customers. So not one big warehouse, but smaller warehousing centers or hubs or whatever. Yes, Gabriel. Okay, yeah. So this will also decrease the cost for the return trips. Instead of having shipment, let's say by air to Germany from all over Europe, you may have you have to return them to smaller hubs placed across across Europe for return. Okay, good. Very good. So, okay. Could be, since they are putting a lot of weight on sustainability, because if they have ecosneakers.com, so using crowd shipping, which we saw could solve some sustainability issues using crowd shipping. Yeah, if possible, I told you that it is still not very advanced. If they find a platform that can organize that, but organizing their own platform, it will be problematic, right? Because it will be a completely new business if existing. Okay. Any other idea?
Maybe it's the communication. I don't know if it's but since the customers usually with sustainability, also communicating that the returns are not environmentally sustainable. So, like also in you ask the two sizes of the same shoe, like suggesting if you are thinking about this, please know that it's not a sustainable practice.
Very good. Proactively returning is not sustainable. Okay, good, good. Any other idea? Any other good idea? Okay, I know I did not provide you with the exercise of the slides. I will do this, but I also had some, some ideas are similar to those that I thought of. Inventory management, perhaps decentralized inventory. This is Martin's idea. Perhaps another idea is stock more popular sizes. Yeah, the sizes that are more popular, I don't know, perhaps for men or for women, what are the most popular sizes, but it is, I think it should be like a normal distribution, right? So between, so average size of shoe plus minus 2 sigma, you will have most 95% of the all sizes. Then restrict multiple size orders. So this is what Gabriele said, okay, communicating proactively, but here is perhaps restrict. We can do something that is more punishing, let's say, customers. Punishing. I mean, if you return, you may pay some fees for returning, right? Could be also possible. I really don't know. So for most of the companies in commerce, you can return without any issue. But yeah, of course, you have to think of these ideas within the legal framework. Right? So could be. So you have to and perhaps there are also differences between different regions. Yeah, with respect to applying fees. But I mean, yeah, if you this return logistics, of course, is for the environment, for sustainability, is very bad. So if it is not restricted now, to my opinion, at some point in time it will get restricted. But there are even more ideas for. So I know, for example, there are some companies, in the shoe, e-commerce companies that show you how to measure your feet on a piece of paper in a way that when you are ordering a specific size of shoe, you are sure that it would be 100% fitting. So you are measuring, and let's say on the paper, you are making the different measurements, length and breadth, etc. And you compare this with what you have in the system, and then the system will tell you what is the shoe that will be best fitting to your body. And I think this is also a good idea in order to go around the problem of paying some fees for returning. and also, and also when you buy two, right? So it may be that you buy one for you and one for a colleague or a friend or whatever. So it is not automatically that it is two for you just to compare which one is fitting best. The warehouse strategy, yeah, you can partner with a second 3PL. You can do also some prioritization for countries. You can start with the biggest countries and then go to the smaller countries perhaps. So it could be an idea. Returns handling, yeah, this is what I told you before. You can charge perhaps some fee for returns, or it is better to offer some size guides on virtual try-on tools, right? So like these measurements that you do on your own at home. Perhaps also what could be interesting is to promote store credit over refunds. For example, Amazon is doing this. Of course, you can get your money back if you are returning a product, or you can have that money as credit on your account. Next time when you are doing a next purchase, you can use that money that is now on your account at Amazon or at the website of the e-commerce company. Then customer communication, proactive communication. This is what you said, Gabriel, but it is a bit in another context. Email customers about expected delays, honestly and early. Sometimes customers, they get disappointed not because it comes later, but because it has been promised to come on that date, but there was no information that it will come later, and customers just wonder why it did not arrive. So communicating proactively, yes, it will have 2 or 3 days of delay would be much better. Apology with incentives, offer a small coupon for the next order to apologize for delays, but it will be costly. And manage expectations on the website, update delivery timelines at checkout. So provide real expectations of deliveries instead of saying, okay, 2 days is our delivery time. Sometimes it could be deceiving for customers. Okay, yeah. You see, so here there are many ideas. Of course, if we could have spent a bit more of time to brainstorm more. But this is just to tell you that if there are things not going well, yeah, especially in e-commerce in general, it is the problem is somehow located in logistics, because e-commerce companies at the end, I think they are logistic companies, right? Yeah, they are doing warehousing, they are doing logistics, they are managing their supply chains. So most of what they are doing is supply chain and logistics related. Good. What about having 10 minutes of break? Let's make 10 minutes, okay? Before having the break, any question or any? Okay. Then let's do 10 minutes of break. 11 at 3 past 11, we continue. We can continue. By the way, before I forget, next week we will have a guest speaker. Actually, we will have two companies next week. One is a consulting company in the area of automation. I mean, here, so intelligent automation. And the other company is Lusotica. So Lusotica will be also here to speak about some project that they have been doing in this in the area of automation, supply chain automation. And just to inform you that some of this, so not all of the slides will be shared because there are some confidentiality issues. And another thing is that also the recording, it will not be possible to record everything of the guest speakers. It is not like what we have done with Uni last week. We had more or less green light for the entire recording, but for next week, there will be restrictions. So not all of the slides will be shared and not all of the speech will be also recorded. So if you are very interested in hearing what our guest speakers will be saying, I would be really motivating you to be in class. And it will be interactive. And then we will start with the guest speakers at 10:30. Yeah, and until that time, or we'll have before a 15 minutes of break. So we will start at 8:30, as we do always, until 10:15, and then having 15 minutes of break, and then our guest speakers will start their presentation. So just to tell you about this, so if you would like to hear everything, to have a good overview of what our guests will say, then please come to the classroom. And this is also not only for you who are present, and I know most of you come always to class, but also to those who are following the lectures remotely. Good. What we have done so far is we finished the part on supply chain innovation concepts. I think we have a good overview of very important concepts, from e-retailing until the pallet pooling, crowd shipping, on-demand delivery, on-demand warehousing, etc. And then, as you could perhaps notice, we have not talked about technologies, right? Never we had a discussion. We had a discussion on the concepts, how things work, right? Now we will look at technologies. Perhaps you may think that it will be a heavy class, but it will not be. There will be a lot of videos. I put together a good collection of videos with regard to the technologies, because it is the best way to see how they function, instead of having a lot of description from my side. It is like when a video is like when we go to a warehouse and just having a demonstration how a certain technology works. So today, and perhaps beginning of next lecture, we will try to finish with these technologies, and then we will go to technologies. And this will be the last part of the entire lecture, or the entire course, is that we look at technologies that have been developed outside the supply chain, but it happens that they have a lot of implementations and applications in the supply chain, especially robotic process automation, which we have to do next week, because then the colleagues from the guest speakers, they will be capitalized on RPA technologies, and they will show you how things work in practice, what are the projects that they have done around RPA, but also to other technologies. The blockchain, we have to do it. We will do it also, and then artificial intelligence, knowing, of course, that for artificial intelligence and for blockchains, but also for RPI, we need perhaps a full course on them, right? But you will know what these technologies can do and how we may, as management engineers, reason about these technologies. I think this is the most important for the supply chain innovation class, instead of getting into the technicalities, which is, I think if you'd like to have an AI course, you should, there are a lot of offers at Polytechnic. We should have a course on machine learning or deep learning or whatever. Even statistics, by the way, I told you that regression analysis, in the meantime, it is called also as artificial intelligence, because it makes predictions. Good. So we are now here selected technology called innovation for the supply chain. I emphasize selected because we cannot cover everything, but I think these are the most important ones for the supply chain innovation course. So these are the technologies what we will deal with. First of all, we will look at robots and automation. Then we will look at autonomous vehicles and delivery robots. and then alternative propulsion technologies. And then this course, it will be done on the 4th of June by my colleague Mattia Brambilla online. I repeat, it will be an online course from 9 to 1, yeah, in the afternoon. And the course will be in the morning from 9 to 1, okay? And it is about localization technology. So I will do everything, and then I will keep this to my colleague Mattia Brambilla, who will be doing this the first week of June. Good. So let's start with robots and automation. We will look at these types of robots. I think they find a lot of use at the moment in warehouses and supply chains. We distinguish between two types of robots in material transport systems: autonomous mobile robots, the AMRs, and then the automated guided vehicles, which are the AGVs. So when you leave this course, when you graduate from this course, let's say, you have to know what is an AMR and AGV. So because these are also languages and acronyms that are used in practice. Then the cobots, collaborative robots, and also here the automated picking robots. So we will see, a couple of examples of them. So I will show you some pictures of them, and then also some videos, and I will make some comparisons between the different robots, so you can have a better understanding of what these robots are doing. So, this is the AMR in action. So this is the So these are the AMRs. What you can see is that they can more or less move in the warehouse freely. So they are programmed, of course. They know where they start from and then where they have to go to. And these AMRs, they are different from the so-called AGVs, which find also a lot of implementations in warehouses and manufacturing companies. AGVs, they are automated guided vehicles. So AMRs, they are more or less freely moving. They are more complex as systems. Here they are following lines. So this is another system. So by the way, I put for you all, of course I cannot upload the videos because they are a bit big, but I put all of the links that you can still view the video afterwards. So this is an example of we can, perhaps it's very good if we can compare both. So why do we have AGVs and why do we have AMRs? So the AGVs, as we have seen, they follow fixed paths in the factory. AMRs, they do free navigation. The flexibility of AGVs is very low because they need reprogramming if the environment changes. So, of course, they have to follow the paths that have been already predefined. But AMRs, they are very flexible. They can adjust instantaneously and instantly on to obstacles. Then the environment adaptability, AGVs needs a structured environment. Yeah, there must be paths on the ground. AMRs, they work in dynamic changing environments. The typical use for AGVs, these are moving goods along preset paths, for example, factory floors, hospitals. And AMRs, they are used in smart warehouse picking, perhaps dynamic order fulfillment, collaborative transport. So still we need them both, right? So yeah, the AMRs, of course, they are a more complex system than the AGVs. We have the technology, basic sensors and navigation logic for AGVs. For AMRs, localization and mapping is very important. Localization, this is what you will be learning with my colleague Mattia Brambilla. The cost, AGVs are usually less costly, they are cheaper. Yeah, and then here is the example, a cart that follows a floor track from A to B, and here a robot that finds the fastest way to get from A to B. Good, so this is the difference between AMRs and AGVs. By the way, I also asked questions in the past in the exam, what is the difference between them, and what is so if I tell you AMR, I do not need to say autonomous while robots, so it should be known AMRs. This is also the name in the industry, but also AGVs. In the meantime, it is like a name, although it is only an acronym. So we have here collaborative robots. I don't know whether you know them. So these are programmable robots, robots that are easy to program. And they are working with people together. So yeah, here, I have a very long video here, but I will just perhaps take 1 minute of it. Yeah, very, very important, by the way. Yeah, these are the main features of collaborative robots. They are safe by design. Cobots are equipped with sensors, cameras, and smart software. They are flexible and easy to program. So they are not like industrial robots. We will see an example of industrial robots. The cobots, they're much easier to program in the sense that, for example, you don't need to put code in order to show or in order to have the cobot make a certain movement. You just take the robot and you place it from A to B, right? And the robot itself will memorize position of the start and position at the end, and then we'll do it again and again. So it is not like you have to put code inside the system in order to program the industrial robots. They assist rather than replace. So they assist humans. Cobots are intended to assist workers, not fully replace them in heavy lifting, repetitive tasks, precision assembly. And they get smaller and more mobile. Cobots are lighter, smaller, and often mobile compared to big industrial robots. You have seen, this is just a hand that is moving, right? From here, bring big things from here, put them here, in another place, etc. So they are not big systems as the industrial robots. I have here a picture of an industrial robot. You can see it, which is completely, yeah, this is how industrial robots are looking like, right? So here, by the way, when you go to an automotive manufacturer and you see these robots, you cannot enter to the area where the robots are working. You see, cobots, they are very, very clear, very near to people, right? And here they should be really away from people, and then there is a protected area, you see? There is a grid here, and then people cannot enter, perhaps only those that are authorized in order to make some repair or to see some, to correct some failures, some mistakes, etc. Yeah, this is yeah, a small video. This is yeah, a very known maker of robots. It's called KUKA. I don't know whether you know it. KUKA is very known for industrial robots. Short video. Okay, so it was just short So here we have a comparison between industrial robots and cobots. So the work environment in traditional industrial robots, like the one we saw here, the example of the automotive, the work environment is isolated. Collaborative robots shared with humans. Safety needs physical barriers, right? There's a grid that is separating the area of the robot from the other part of the factory, so from the people. And the collaborative robots, they have built-in sensors for safety. Flexibility, they are fixed task specific. If, like, you are programming an industrial robot for making some weldings of the in the car, it will do it for big quantities for mass production, but the cobots is reprogrammable, is multitask capable. So it's more flexible. But on the other hand, of course, the typical use of industrial robots is for mass production, but for the cobots is for variable tasks, dynamic environments where things can change, very quickly. So we need cobots instead of programming an industrial robot for doing the same task again and again for a long time. Programming complexity is, here, very high. Industrial robots, you need really automation engineers that make the programming. But for the cobots is intuitive programming. Like, I don't know. So, for example, when you do a simulation, let's say with a software, you may have software that needs that you really enter code. And some simulation environments, they will provide you the possibility of drag and drop, right? So you'll have some servers. I mean, if it's a supply chain systems, or some servers, in order to model the machines, or you can use the pre-programmed distributions, probability distributions inside the software. But if you use a software like C++ or other, other software that needs programming skills, then you need to do the programming. Here it's like the drag and drop in simulation environments, right? So you are showing the cobots what is the movement that the cobot has to do, and then we'll memorize that and we'll do it again and again. Okay, so this is the difference between them. We have also very interesting is the automated picking robots. What did we say last time? Said that there are actually two approaches for picking. There is actually operator to good, or picker to good. So this is the first one. So it means that the picker or the operator, the human operator, moves to the goods in order to get the goods and then put them together so that they can consolidate the order for the customer. Or it is the other way around, that the good is moving to the picker, to the operator. And here, of course, we need robots and some systems in the warehouse that bring the good to the operator. And here we have an example from the shoe industry. Okay, we were working on the example Echo sneakers. Here is an example also from the shoe industry. Very interesting robot that does this good to operator approach. Okay, so this is what the automated picking robots are doing. But here they are even consolidating the one big order for customers. You can see how it works. This is always a very important aspect. The human operator will come and will know exactly which players to work. Always the control of the robot. Good. So here we have some general features of automated picking robots. They have their vision systems, of course, because it's very important, as we have seen here, to see where the goods are in order to pick them. They have robotic arm or gripper. They are moving, of course. The robot moves the item to a bin, a conveyor belt, or a packing station, and they are, of course, endowed with intelligence. Robots use machine learning algorithms to get better at identifying and picking different items over time, so that they do not make mistakes. Of course, people can make mistakes, but people can learn here, can know exactly what goods are, etc. But these kind of robots, they may need a bit of time until they learn the different items to be picked. Good. Here we have Amazon. Amazon is using these robots, these orange colored robots. They are the robots from Kiva. They have more than 80,000 robots at the 25 fulfillment centers. As I told you, they are using the good-to-operator system in their warehouses, so that you can imagine, I do not have a video here, but you have a big shelf here on these kind of robots, and then they move and to the operator, and the operator can get the goods and put them in the packages. Good. Here it is a new warehouse design with robots. I find it really very interesting. I do not know. Do you know the Ocado system? How it works? This is an e-commerce company in the area of groceries. It is in the UK, and the system is really amazing. I have a video here, so you have here a couple of screenshots. But look at the system, how it works, and we can discuss it afterwards. This is about 4 football pitches, right? Where the goods are moved. just to operate the system. That's the big station. And from there, they get the product, and then the robot brings them again to the grid system. It's very interesting because so you see how it works. There is the crates. They are piled up. Let's say there's a crate with a bottle of water, and then the robot goes there, gets a full crate, full box, bring it to the person, or bring it to the automated concert picking system, because you have seen they are experimenting actually also with air vacuum in order to get the product out of the crate. So perhaps if it is a 6-pack of water bottles, it's too heavy. People have to do it. But if it is like a very light product, it can be done with vacuum, and then there is no need for people to intervene. And then after having done that, the robots take the crate again and will place it again in the grid. The question is, for example, what does it happen if one of these robots, it breaks, or it does not, it gets out of the grid, or there is some problem? Do you think that people can go there in order to repair the robot? No, they cannot go there. People can, because it's very dangerous, right? You cannot walk. What they have there, they have robots. They can go to the broken robot and bring it to get repaired. So it's a very interesting system, and it works and it is used. So it really is a functional system. I'm not here showing you science fiction. It works. Yeah, sometimes, by the way, we have technologies that work and that are implemented, they are realized, they are scaled up, like here. And sometimes we have ideas that are technologically 100% working. The problem is that they did not scale up, that things perhaps need some time in order to scale up, like we will see afterwards in autonomous vehicles and delivery robots, like drone delivery. Okay. Let's look at autonomous driving. Yeah, the autonomous driving is leveraging actually a very important principle, which is called the principle of platooning. Platooning is more or less, you have the first truck or the first vehicle is actually imposing the pace on every truck that is behind. What is the main advantage of having this platooning system? Having one vehicle that imposes more or less the rhythm on all of the vehicles that are behind it. Yeah, first of all, autonomous vehicles, especially in logistics, autonomous trucks, if they will be used in practice, they will be solving a big problem. The biggest problem we have is this scarcity of truck drivers. There is a big shortage in truck drivers. Second, truck drivers, they're human beings, and of course they need rest, right? So they are not allowed to work perhaps more than 8 hours, and on the highway you can see that there are a lot of places where trucks can just put on the side and then people can rest and can have a sleep in order to recharge, let's say, for the next ride, etc. So this is something that we have to think of. Of course, another thing is that, especially for logistics companies that are operating a fleet of trucks, about 45% of the costs is actually the salaries of the truck drivers. Okay, so this is a bit the context. Now, Yeah, what is platooning? Platooning is here having a vehicle, let's say, at the very beginning that is more or less imposing the rhythm on the other vehicles. For example, the security distance between two vehicles. When humans are driving, yeah, there are some rules. I don't know, 100 kilometer per hour. You have to keep, especially if you are driving a truck, you have to keep really a big distance to the next truck, because in the case of braking, you have still time to react as a driver. Here, in this case, when you have platooning, actually, the trucks, they could drive really very, very close to each other. Because whenever there is the intention, let's say, from one truck to go slower, this information, it will be given to all of the trucks that are on the platoon. And this way, they should not keep big distances between the truck and the next one, but they could be driving really very close to each other. It has a big advantage, is that the air drag or the air resistance that each truck is getting or is experiencing is much lower than the air drag or the air resistance that is felt, let's say, by a truck when it is driving in free air alone. And being behind, let's say, the next truck, it will reduce the air drag by about, I think it will lead to a consumption reduction of fuel about 15%. About 15% reduction due to the platooning aspect, right? So this is a big saving in energy. So you can have here, we can look a bit, can watch how does it work. Yeah, this is from Scan. And I think this is coming from, yeah, actually have a lead truck or lead vehicle, and then the other trucks, they are driving very, very close to the lead truck and to each other, right? Yeah, what are now just the benefits of autonomous driving? So based on what I said. So first of all, when we use autonomous driving, we can save money in respect of the salaries of the drivers. We can have trucks perhaps working for a much longer time than having human operators or human drivers that are driving the truck. So Yeah, we can use the entire time because machines do not get tired. Yeah, just simply like this. Perhaps also there is a kind of safety. Yeah, I think this example we have dealt with at the very beginning of this course. Yeah, autonomous driving should be actually safer than when people themselves drive. Of course, the technology is coming, is arriving. There is a lot of work that is going on in the moment in autonomous driving. You have less consumption of fuel. Yeah, you have lower costs because of that, and because of saving the cost of the salaries of drivers. You have less emissions. You have much better sustainability, and also these kind of autonomous trucks, they are communicating their status every time with GPS, with radar, with etc., so that the company that is operating them know exactly about their status. They are monitoring them very, very nearly and closely. So if there is any issue, any problem, they can react very quickly also. So I tell you, this is just a matter of time in order to have these systems working. Because the technology is out there, the technology is getting mature. What we need, of course, and this is very important for autonomous driving, we need more acceptance of people, more acceptance of society. Because in general, when we talk about systems or about technological systems, the easiest part, by the way, the easiest part is the technological part. This is what engineers do. And the most difficult part is the socio-technical aspect, that you get that technology actually accepted by people in order to operate it. So what would be, for example, your behavior if you see, let's say, a truck driving itself? So you don't have, yeah, what would be, this is, for example, one of the research questions. I heard that they are done here at Politecnico di Milano. What would be, let's say, the behavior of drivers if you are close to a car, to a vehicle that is driving alone? So trying to understand also the behavior of people in these cases is very important. So we are, yeah, of course, progressing a lot here, and it is a matter of time, but yeah, things will get improved, and the technology will get more and more acceptance, which is most important. Another type of technology which gets more and more attention is the UAVs, or unmanned aerial vehicles, drones. And I have here an example which is very, very interesting. Technologically, it works. Look at it. Technologically, so UAVs for home delivery. You have to buy something. So it is in 30 minutes delivered by a UAV. Okay, so technology works, but still we are not there. Okay, we are not there. Why we are not there? Because obviously there are some challenges. There are obviously some challenges. Yeah, that will be, of course, hopefully solved, or yeah. First of all, we need acceptance, right, of this technology. Who is for having drones delivering at home? Who is here for, against? You see, Who is against? Definitely against, Gabriele. Who doesn't know at the moment? Okay. You see? So, yeah, this is what I mean with socio-technological acceptance, or we have to, general technology is not existing in vacuum. Technology existing in connection with people. If people would not want to use it, technology will not be used. So we have to accept more or less the technology. And here, of course, there are some challenges. The challenges, the first one is range. Okay, range and payload. The payload, it means how much weight you can put on the UAV. So perhaps if it is a small package, it will be much easier to transport than when you have a bigger one, a bulky product. Safety and regulatory. So regulation needs, of course, here very important. Regulation has to catch up, right, with this. But also safety. What about the battery range, for example, of the... What about that you are just walking on the street and there is a drone? Yeah, you know this noise of drone. Do you like it? Who likes this? Yeah. Do you like the noise? Yeah, you don't like it. I don't like it also. I don't know. But yeah, and then the battery is over, and then it will fall down, right, on the head of people. This is not good at all. So security, a big challenge. Yeah, they can be, for example, hacked. What about Amazon sending to you your package, and then it gets hacked on the way? So let's say it will get to somebody else, right? Or it can be just damaged in the air. Then we have noise. It is not noise. It is noise with S. I'm sorry here. Noise and privacy. So it's like, yeah, we have pollution, of course, the environmental pollution, but there is also kind of noise pollution if you have drones everywhere. So yeah, think of the fact that if we had many drones here, yeah, Amazon is delivering somehow to the campus here, it will not be a good thing, right? And yeah, privacy. Yeah, there are a lot of, yeah, let's say you have at home, your window open because it's a very hot summer night, and all of a sudden you hear a drone. What will do? Of course, I will just close my window. So here there is a big issue with privacy. So what are the drones doing in addition of making the delivery, right? And there is also delivery practicality. So the example we have seen before in the video is very good, okay? There is a lot of space in front of the house where the delivery, so it is in the garden, for example. But what about the fact if it is just in an urban area, a building which is a high building, so where should the delivery be made? So this is also a kind of practicality that has to be also solved before starting with doing this on a large scale. Okay, there are also niche users of UAVs. So for example here, yeah, in Rwanda, for example, this company called Zipline Delivery, there, yeah, for example, there are hospitals in rural areas. So this is, I think, an American company, Zipline. There, in rural areas, we have some hospitals, and then we have in the city center, yeah, bigger hospitals. They are more advanced hospitals. And the roads between the big hospital and the rural area, they are not developed at all. There are no roads, perhaps. Or the roads, they are very difficult to reach via a car. And what it has been done there is that, yeah, for example, if the rural area hospital needs some blood in order to serve some patients, they will get it delivered by a drone very quickly. And this is, of course, very important for the safety and for the health of people, because if there is an accident or there is a surgery where blood is needed very quickly, then this kind of technology, yeah, it has been exactly used for this purpose, and it works. And here, this is from the Swiss Post. It is also drone delivery of analysis between hospital, of blood analysis, or what type of other types of analysis. We have here a short video. We have here Yeah, this is and perhaps what I don't know whether, yeah, I personally did not see it in the cities, delivery robots. Yeah, now, of course, there's Globo, there's Deliveroo, but there is, for example, this company, it's called Starship Robots. Instead of having drones flying over the city, what we have here, we have robots. So these white, small robots, not very small actually, you can see that they are a bit bulky here. They are alternative to drones, and they make goods delivery over the last mile. Yeah, same day and same hour delivery. For example, grocery deliveries or even home deliveries of medical products. Of course, restaurants can use it. And in the meantime, I have seen that they arrived in Europe. So you can see how it works here. Instead of having drones, we have robots moving around the city. Yeah, will it work, this one? So by the way, it has been already implemented in certain campuses in the United States, for example. Yeah, people that are in the office or they would like to get their meal. So it is not in a big area, it is not in a city area, but still these robots, they have application in the cities, but in a campus, in a closed big area, that you are in the office and then you are just ordering your meal, and then this robot will bring the meal until your office. So as I told you, this is just, it's not at the, even not at the experimenting or the experiment level. We are already here at the application level. Good. So, do you have any question in this regard? Any comments? Okay, since we have about one more minute to go, I would like to just I will put this part for next week, and then if you have any comment or any contribution, I would like to get it.
How those solutions repay themselves. Are they costly to develop and create the risk of accident and the damage and everything, and does it repay with
Yeah, €2 per shipment, I don't know, but what about bike sharing, for example? Yeah, still it works, and some companies. I'm not saying that they are making, they are becoming rich, but still, it works. And there is a company in Germany, for example, that works really very, very well. It is called Nike Bike, and it is even in different areas in Europe. So, yeah, of course, there are problems of theft, there are problems of issues like this, but I think in many areas it will work. Why not? Of course, and I think having robots is. I'm not saying. Yeah. By the way, this could be misinterpreted very quickly. I'm not saying, or I'm not a proponent, let's say, of replacing human jobs with robots. But there is one rule: everything that could be automated will be automated, right? So this is like a law, a rule. Everything that can get automated will be automated. And I think it is better to have jobs for people where people can experience some creativity, can do some creativity, can do some decision making, which is important. So here it is just delivery. So why not putting it on robots and then reserving the human beings for jobs that are much more creative and much better? But yeah, this is a discussion that is going on. Yeah, and nobody. I mean, here, no one of us in the classroom will be able now in the next minute to find a solution, because there are obviously no solutions to that. Any other question or any other comment on this? Yes, please. Alternative, to this, absolutely. So, I also think so, and this is with respect to human jobs in the future, I think this is a question that will accompany us in the future also, and we have to take it very seriously, right? So, and then in the next week lesson, we will continue with this, but we will look also at automation in the office. So here, more or less, it is automation in the warehouse, automation in last mile delivery, or automation in driving, in logistics with truck driving, etc. But we will see that automation actually has reached the office. So the work that you will be doing in the future in the supply chain, so tasks that have been used to be done in the past by people for supply chain management, now they are done by robots, but they are not by robots that we know, but by software robots, taking over all of these tasks. And it is very interesting to know what is happening and how these systems can support us actually in order to do a better work and to feel perhaps even much better in our jobs. Okay, thank you very much for your attention, and see you next week. Thank you.